Okay, it's 1 o'clock now, and I want to get everything underway. And welcome all of you for joining today, and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules. I'm Tina Dunphy, and I am part of a fantastic identiMetrics team, and I'll be taking you on a tour of our PowerSchool Tardy Management plugins today. These plugins we created specifically for you to help you streamline your entire tardy management process. Also here with us today is Brian Adams. He's also part of the identiMetrics team. He's here to make sure that the whole webinar runs smoothly. And he's also going to be guiding the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So thank you. Thanks, Brian, for being here to make sure everything runs like it should. I'm going to be bringing you through a tour of our tardy management solutions, and then at the close, we'll entertain and answer all of the questions that you have. Please just put your questions in the chat, and then Brian will share them, and I'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay, so let's get started here. Our tardy management plugin. Our tardy management plugin allows you to manage all of your tardy attendance from one single screen. It's designed to be used as a front office solution. So your students that are coming in late to the building, this is primarily how we're using our tardy management solution. So students are coming in late, and we allow you, using our plugin, to automate all of those tardy tasks that you're currently doing manually. So if I can direct your attention to the screen that I'm sharing with you, I like to start at the very beginning, right? I like to start to show you how it looks when you log into PowerSchool, navigate over to the page you'll be using to collect attendance. So here we are at the start of the day. Your attendance clerks have logged into PowerSchool, and this is the screen that comes up on the start page. It's very simple to get to our plugin page simply by choosing the attendance selection underneath functions. And over on the left side of the screen, you'll see another link, and the link brings us to our scanning page. This is the page where all of the attendance activity is done, where all of the information is collected and then recorded directly into the student's record. If we look at this page closely, it's broken up into two different sections. There's a top section, and then there's a bottom section. The top section shows an attendance time, which is a date and a time stamp that is associated with the student's daily attendance record. The attendance code, this is our code selection for the student whose attendance we are recording. You can either choose to create a default code, or simply by using the drop-down, you can select anything from your attendance bank. So whatever you currently have in PowerSchool as part of your attendance bank can be used with our plugin. You also have an option to print a hall pass with any student that's coming in late to your building. Again, a toggle, yes or no. This can also be set as a default to always yes or always no. In this area, we have a field to allow you to append a comment to the student's record. And then just below that, you have a box with a flashing cursor that is waiting for student ID input. And this is our top half of our scan page, which is our attendance collection page within PowerSchool. The ID that needs to be entered into the plugin can either be the student ID or the student number. Whichever number that you're currently using in PowerSchool for attendance now is the same number that you would use here with our plugin. Entering the student ID can be done in a number of ways. You can either use our finger scan ID management system to enter the number, which you'll see the box just above here that says place finger lightly shows that this is an option with my particular setup. It's not required. You can use barcode, You can use pin pad entry. You can use manual entry. So many ways to input the student ID information. That's the top half of the screen. The bottom half of the screen has columns, and the columns will indicate the information that we will be listing for each student that comes in late to the building. Their name, their student number or student ID, grade, the time that they have entered the building, the code that's associated with their scan, the description of the code, and then on the far right, the last is the total number of tardies. We are keeping track of that for you through this plugin. When a student scans, either their finger, their ID is entered, a barcode is used to scan the ID. There's a whole bunch of great things that are happening in a very short amount of time, with less than 2 seconds. We are going to record the daily attendance. We are going to print a hall pass. We are going to tell you the time that the student scanned into the building. We are going to keep track of the total number of tardies. We are going to assign a disciplinary action that you've pre-configured that's associated with the tardy threshold. Maybe it's a consequence, a behavior change, but you will associate that with a tardy threshold. And then we are directly writing the attendance code to the student's daily record. All of that happens in under 2 seconds. So what I want to do is I want to bring you through that process so you can see that all happen, and then we'll break it down and take a look at all of the different components. So for this particular scan, for this particular entry, and we'll do a few of them, I'm going to use my finger scanner. So I'm going to place my finger on the scanner as though I'm a student coming in to the front office and recording my attendance late with the front office staff. And I'm going to place my finger on the scanner. And what you're going to see is a hall pass that presents immediately. Let's go in real close here so you can see what's been recorded on this particular hall pass. We have a date and a timestamp, student's name, the class that Stan needs to go to at this particular point in the bell schedule, the attendance code that was selected for this scan period, a total tardy count. This is the total number of times that Stan has been late to the building this year. And then a consequence that's associated with tardy count number 4. Scan is done. We're ready for the next student to be scanned in. Notice on the bottom of the page now Stan's information is listed. It's easy to see. It's a nice view, and you know that he was the last person that came in through your front office. We have good information here at a glance, and a nice visual explanation of what Stan's situation is. Okay, so let's take a look at what Stan's attendance record looks like. So let's bounce back here into Stan's attendance, and I'm going to bring up his record. Here's our friend Stan, and today is Thursday, right? October the 6th. Here we are. Stan's record. Notice what we have here for Stan on Thursday. TE, tardy excused, which was the code that I selected from the scan page, has been accurately appended to Stan's daily record. And if we open up the attendance tab a little bit further, you can see that I have his scan time entered into the comment field for today. Let's go back, and I want to go through this process again. And I want to show you, sorry if there's a little bit of a delay. Sometimes our partner server gets a little bit cranky and takes a minute to load the pages. So let's go back and let's run through this scenario again. And let's do it using just manual entry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the code here, and I'll use a tardy code. I don't want to use the tardy excused. Real easy to use my drop down to switch between my selections. And I'm going to put a number in manually. And let's go through that process again. I've typed in my student ID number. I'm hitting submit. My hall pass is going to come up again with some nice information here. I'll bring it in nice and close again so we can see date and time, student's name, class they need to go to on the bell schedule, the attendance code, how many tardies Heather has to date, and then the consequence or action associated with tardy number 2. Back to that scan page, which is our main page that's collecting all of our data. Heather is listed at the top, again, with some important information that's easy to see and at a glance view. Let's take a look at Heather's record here. And I want to show you a little bit about how this one is going to, she's a tardy code. Here's our friend Heather. And Heather's record was also appended. Notice her record was appended a little bit differently. Not only do we have a tardy code associated with Heather's record, but we also have a timestamp within the record that has been appended to her clock in and clock out fields that shows the time that she came into the building. And then it puts the end of day for the bell schedule, which is 3 o'clock, in the clock out time. So let's take a look at that a little bit closer. Again, the clock in field was appended with a timestamp that she came in the building, and the clock out field is appended with the end of day for the bell schedule. So we have 2 versions of our plugin. We have a basic version of our plugin, which allows you to write the attendance code to the daily record, which looks a little bit like the way that Stan's record was appended with only an attendance code. That's our basic plugin. The minute-based plugin adds functionality to the basic Tardy Management plugin by allowing the clock in and the clock out fields to be appended. So depending upon what your state requirements are and what your use case might be, the basic plugin may be just fine. You just want the code appended with all of the functionality, hall pass, tardy comments written, date and time stamp, all of that appended on the hall pass. Or maybe what your state requires in terms of reporting is really to have those clock in and clock out fields appended so that PowerSchool can do that minute calculation, and that's what your state needs. So we have 2 versions, 2 flavors, whichever one works for you. Again, the distinction is it writes the code only, or it writes the code in addition to the clock in and the clock out fields being appended. So I'm going to bring it back to the start page. I haven't showed you all the great features of the plugin quite yet. I've showed you how the attendance is set up on that scan page. I've showed you how the attendance is recorded in the daily attendance record and what our hall pass looks like. But this right here is our daily view. So every day that your attendance secretaries, your attendance clerks are loading the PowerSchool plugin scan page, this will be empty. And as the day goes on, it will fill up with all of the daily records specific to the day at hand. Each day, again, empty, fills up with your daily records. But over here, we have a nice link. It's called the printing page, which brings you to another view. This view is a cumulative view. So all of the data that you've collected, we are going to keep in a nice, neat spot here for you so that you can sort, filter, and use this data in a useful way. So notice here we have various dates and times, lots of kids listed here, various attendance codes, and a basic filter option so you can sort through your data. Basic filter option is just part of PowerSchool's functionality. If I click on my plus area over here, you'll notice that I have lots of advanced filtering options, which makes using this data very, very easy. It also allows you to take the data you collected and make it actionable. So you can search on the total number of tardies, for example, a particular grade level, and get a snapshot of what's happening in terms of tardies for a particular grade. Lots of ways to switch and sort the filtering of your data to make sure that it's most useful for you. So again, we have daily view. Our printing page brings you to the cumulative view where you can sort and filter and use that data as you need. Okay, so let's go behind the scenes now, and I want to take you into the setup. The setup is extremely easy and very straightforward. There are 2 setup areas that are required before you're ready to start using your plugin. So the first area that we need to go to is within school setup. And at the bottom of the page in school setup, you'll see an area that is designated for our plugin configuration. This configuration has 3 areas. It has a main setting area that is going to define the way that your scan page looks. Second area, that is about your print slip settings. This area will define and configure the way that your hall pass looks. And then at the bottom here is where we have our preset tardy comments. The preset tardy comments will allow you to configure a tardy threshold and associate it with a particular consequence. So there are 50 choices here. I'll bring you all the way down to the bottom so that you have an opportunity to use, up to 50 tardies, and you can have a consequence based on the threshold that that student has reached at during that time that they're coming into the building. Okay, that's the one section that gets configured. Let's move to the second configuration section, which is also in school setup, and it's our attendance codes. Our attendance code section, open this one here, also has something similar at the bottom of the page that requires your attention. And it asks you for each particular code that you want to use in the plugin, what you want that behavior to be. So do we want the code to actually accumulate tardies, like include the code in a tardy count, use it to print a hall pass, include it on our printing page, which is our cumulative view, and you decide which code you want to use and how you want to use it. If you're choosing our plugin that allows you to append the clock in and the clock out fields, this area would also, the clock in, clock out usage would also need to be filled in. Clicking on the drop down, you see I have a choice of 3 plans. Either I'm not using the clock in and clock out field, which would be the no times needed option, or I want to append a clock in and clock out field for a tardy code, which would be scan time coming in the building and clock out time is end of day for the bell schedule. If I want to use an early dismissal, I would choose the opposite of my tardy. I want the clock in time to show start a day for the bell schedule and the clock out time to show the time that student left the building. So we give you lots of opportunity and flexibility here to define the behavior of your attendance codes for use with our plugin. I'm going to come back to the start page here and take you through one more time how this would look getting through at the start of the day, navigating to this page where all of your tardy management information is going to be collected. So again, I'm at my start page. I'm going to select attendance. I'm going to select my link to my scan page. And here I am ready to go to start the day. I'll let this sit here for just a minute, but this is the time where I'd love to hear some questions that you have. So anybody that has any questions, if you want to put them in our in the chat, and let me see how I can help answer anything that you have questions with about our tardy plugins.
All right, Tina, we got some questions rolling in here. First one here is, you mentioned a few student ID entry methods. Yes. What are they?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I did, and I did that at the beginning. There was a lot of information shared, so thank you for that question. So you can use multiple ways to enter ID information into our plugin. One way that you can enter ID information is using our finger scan option. Another way you can enter ID information is with a barcode. If you have existing ID cards, you could take a barcode and scan that barcode, and it would enter that information right here to this ID field. You can use a pin pad. A pin pad could be a USB device that's attached to your computer, and the students could type their own ID number in. or you could just manually type it on the keyboard. So lots of different ways that you can get your ID information into the plugin, and any one of them will work, and even a combination of them will work.
All right, thank you. We've got two questions here that are along the same lines, but I'm going to read them both to you.
Okay.
I think they answer each other.
All right.
Software side seems good. Is there a specific printer? Is the first question.
Mhm.
And the second is, can you print to a Dymo label printer? I need fast output printing.
Yeah, yes, and yes. So we do not, the printer that you can purchase is something that you would purchase on your own. It would be, and like just like any printer that you would purchase for use in your school, in your district. One of the real popular ones that people use is the Epson printer. I've been asked a lot of times, and we've been asked a lot of times, hey, what printer can you recommend? I can't really recommend one particular one, but I asked everyone out in the field what they were using. Seems like the Epson is a really popular choice. You can get it pretty inexpensive on Amazon. And apparently it comes with a whole bunch of thermal paper. So it's a separate purchase for use with the plugin. And yes, you can direct that hall pass to be printed through that receipt printer that would be your default printer for your hall pass. So yeah, Dymo printer will work fine. Epson printer will work fine. And there's probably a whole host of others out there that will work beautifully with our plugin. Up to you, whatever is, whatever fits your budget, and whatever, maybe you have something on hand as well.
And for those who have a specific question on what model, I remember that we have a little handout that we can send that has a suggestion of what some other people have used.
Yep,
so we can get
that's
that
right.
to you.
And a link, and it has like a link, so you can actually go to I think it's on Amazon. You can go there and look at your options to purchase it. Yeah, thanks, Brian, for that reminder.
Yeah, and really any printer will work as long as it works with your computer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another question here asking about if this video is being recorded and we will be sending it to you. So yes, you'll be able to review it and send it to your office staff. Next question is, I'm interested in appending the student's meeting record as well. Is that possible?
It is possible, yes, and we are currently working on a solution to manage to that. So if you are also interested in being able to append the student record that's associated with the time that they're coming into the building, please put your information in the chat, if you would, so that I can reach out to you when I have availability for that particular update on the plugin, and I'll let you know when it's ready.
Wonderful. We got time for one more question here. Ready to get started. What's the next step?
Well, here's just reach out to me. We can talk a little bit. We can design exactly how you want your tardy management process to be functioning in your front office, how many scan stations you're going to need. So just reach out to me. Yeah, we can get started right away.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to include your contact information in the follow-up email with the recording as well.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Are there any more questions? Did we get them all?
One just came in here. This plugin seems to note students tardy to building. Can it be used for tardy to class 2? Not always the same thing. Thanks.
Not always tardy to. So tardy to the building, not the same. Meaning the same code.
For tardy to the building, can it be used for tardy to class as well? Some more of a meeting vibe.
Yeah, so I think there's probably a little bit more information. So currently, as the student is coming in with the solution that I'm showing you right now, it's going to append the daily record only. Soon coming, very soon coming, there will be the ability to append the meeting record with the code that you would assign from the scan page. So yes, tardy to the building.
I have a little clarification.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Do teachers have access to this essentially, or is it just office staff?
It's really office staff, but to that point, depending upon, typically the teachers have access to PowerTeacher, right? So this plugin is, specific to the login permissions for the user that has it. So if there are different login permissions for the teacher and you're actually giving them different views, they could be able to see it, absolutely. But, not necessarily. It depends on how their permissions are set up and their logins are created. But this would be interesting. Whoever is asking that question, I'd love to talk to you a little further about that, because I think we can do some exploration there.
Yeah, I'll get you that information.
Okay, great.
We've got one more question here. Can you show the number of tardy comments, 1 to 50 thing?
Oh, sure.
I'm guessing, can you go back to that show?
I certainly can. I'm going to go back. So it's in the setup, the school setup area. So here I'm on the navigation bar. I'm going to go into school setup. And I'm going to navigate down to the bottom here to the identiMetrics configuration settings. And then right down here on the bottom. So preset tardy comments, which gives you the tardy threshold on the left side. And then the comment that's associated. Now these are just, input for demonstration purposes only. If I went back over here, I could type, whatever I want to type in here, like, this is your first one. Whatever it is that you want to put.
So those would be configured based on whatever your individual school's needs are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's all the questions that have come across from me.
Okay, so there's a lot that I covered today. Our plugin, again, it's a daily solution currently designed front office as kids are coming in late to the building, automating all of those things that you're currently doing manually. That's the whole the reason behind this plugin, to help simplify and streamline your processes. That being said, there's lots of things that maybe are particular to your school, to your district, that you'd like to talk about with me directly, and I would love to chat with you more. So if you would like to, like Brian mentioned that you'll have my contact information, send me an email. We can set up a time to, have a call, and we can go through this on a one-on-one basis with anybody that wants to see it a little bit more in depth. I'd love to take you through it, and slow it all down and answer your specific questions. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, and I really hope to hear from everybody.
Thanks. Have a nice day, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Bye.